Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Aira or Shib for short. I appreciate you being here today. The goal of this video is to dive through the tier 3 abyssal dungeons and make sure you understand the boss mechanics so that you can get through them and get the end abyssal reward. The tier 3 abyssal raids are called Oreha's Well, specifically Aira's Oculus, and I think that's how you say it, or Oreha Preveza. Could have totally butchered those names, not the point. Let's dive right through, keep these things short and sweet, and teach you the mechanics. The first boss in Aira's Oculus is a large flail-wielding knight, which honestly isn't anything crazy. The main mechanic of this boss is that every time you stagger him to the point where he gets semi-stunned, he will get a damage buff up to 3 stacks. Other than that, there really isn't much to him. In order to handle this mechanic, you should remove all stagger runes and tripods and just focus on dealing flat damage to him. In order to remove one of those stacks, the boss will use a large flail attack. He'll swing it around his head and then slam in all 4 directions, followed by a massive slam directly in front of him. After that massive slam, plant somebody in front of his face because there's a chance that he'll grab somebody. If he ends up grabbing somebody and you then stagger him while he has somebody in his hands, it will drop a stack rather than gaining a stack. So make sure you keep that in your mind. If he gets to 3 stacks of that damage buff, his attacks will dominate. So just play it safe and keep your eye on it.
I mean, it really isn't. It's just damage. That's it. Yeah.
The second boss is Saint Sam, the king of fun, and honestly, he is a lot of fun. This boss has some mechanics that are quite annoying, and he has some that I'm not even going to talk about because they do some damage, and you'll learn them over time. First things first, this boss is constantly healing, so make sure you put DOT on him because he won't heal. Bleeds, burns, etc. Star balls, the next attack. He will teleport to the middle of the map and plant a bunch of star balls around the map. Separate and destroy them to avoid a wipe. It's easier than it sounds. Next, we have kicked balls. The boss will target one player and consistently kick balls at them. If targeted, just run away from the boss as they bounce and they do heavy damage. So if you're near your teammates, it might screw them all over. Next, we have key input. He will stun everybody on the map and force you to type in a certain key order. It's pretty simple, but it's fun. If you do it correctly, you're going to be able to dodge an incoming AoE. And finally, we have love bondage. At phase 2, he will imprison 3 players and let 1 be free. The free player needs to attack to set the other free, similar to what we had to do in the 8-man abysses with the petrification. The free player will be imprisoned after the others are set free, so be prepared for that. The first boss in Oreha Preveza is an axe-wielding monster. His mechanics are interesting, but not insane, so listen up. First things first, this boss has a damage buff on him at the start of a battle that can be deleted if you stagger him. Also, just note that if you're ever hit 3 times by this boss, you will be stunned, so you have to keep that in mind. This boss has 2 phases that he'll rotate in between. First is the totem phase. He will summon totems to boost his offense or defense. As a team, you'll need to destroy them. They will pop up on your mini-map, so just keep eyes on that. The person that destroys the totem will be placed in a lock, so make sure you send another teammate with them to break them free. Second phase is a fire phase. The totems will despawn and he will create fire all over the map besides a small safe zone around him. You will need to damage him while in the safe zone and dodge his AoE attacks so you don't get stunned and killed. Be wary that sometimes you will need to dip into the fire zones to ensure you don't get caught in an attack. Because remember, if you get hit 3 times, you will be stunned. For example, he has a spin attack and probably his most dangerous attack that is an AoE in 360 degrees. You will need to dip into the fire for that attack because if you don't, you will get those 3 stacks and stun, and then he'll follow up with a massive damage move that will likely kill you. The boss will spread his arms and shout before this move as a tell. The final boss is the Unicorn Dragon Albion. Albion has 3 major stances to worry about: Lightning, Earth, and Enraged. They can be random, so you need to know the major mechanics for all 3, and here they are. When in the Earth phase, he will do a telegraph strike combo where he will highlight multiple locations he's going to strike at in a certain order. You will need to notice these attacks and where the safe zones are to make sure you dodge in that order. It'll be easier to see than describe, so check it out here. In the lightning stance, the boss will fly into the center and disappear by flying up into the sky. He will then summon star-shaped AoEs on every single person in the party and then have electric balls chase them. You will need to avoid your own and your teammates' AoE while running from the electric balls because they will stun and do insane damage. You need to separate at that point. At the end of that mechanic, he will create a safe zone in the center. You all need to sprint and get into the safe zone because if you don't make it, your team will wipe. When heading into the enraged phase, the boss will have a stagger check. If you are able to knock him out of the stagger check, he will stay in earth or lightning. If not, use it as a time to do insane damage to the boss. Whirlwind grenades and stagger moves obviously will help you succeed that check, but it's not always a guarantee. If he gets into enraged mode, your goal should be to stagger him as fast as possible. Deplete that purple bar below his health. He gets a stacking damage buff the longer he's in this phase. Once he hits 12 health bars, the boss will fly into the center and spawn 12 circles around him. This is his final phase. These circles are marked with 4 prongs, 6 prongs, and 8 prongs on them. He will then have one of those symbols on his back, 4, 6, or 8. You and your team need to separate into your own circles to match the shape on his back. Make sure you talk prior to this where your rough layout is in terms of where you want to be searching for those circles around the boss, because that'll just make it easier so you're not fighting over the same location. He will do this 3 times and he will not reuse the same shape. So keep your eyes out for future locations, and by the final time you should know exactly where you have to go. After matching this segment, he enrages, but without that stacking damage buff, so you don't need to stagger him to clear that buff. You need to fight him in this mode until he dies. That's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you like what I do here and you appreciate the content, subbing here, following any of my socials in the description, that kind of stuff helps me greatly. Throwing a like obviously helps boost the video and the algorithm. That stuff's all great. So if you guys would do that, that'd mean the world to me. Thank you so much for being here, and I love you guys.